So a little while ago, I put out a community post poll thing to ask if you guys wanted to hear one of my stories, and you said yes. Oh, it was 7 months ago. That's a little bit more than a while ago, isn't it? Okay, I guess this is what this video is. Hello, YouTube world. Welcome, welcome. If this is the first time you're seeing me, hello. First and foremost, my name is Katie. I am a medical patient here in the UK and I provide videos on advice and just my experience on how the journey is and what we go through as medical patients. But if you're not new, welcome back, love. So, yes, as you could see, it's been 7 months since I put that post out, and got to be honest with you, I honestly thought it was about 3 months ago. I knew it was a while back, but I didn't think it was that long. So get ready for this video because this is going to be a story, a true story that happened to myself about pretty much being one of the patient zeros when the law came out about the road testing. So get yourself some beverages, get yourself some snacks, pause the video, sit comfortably, and I'll tell you about the time that I pretty much got a DUI. Just a quick little disclaimer before we start into the story for those of you who might be thinking about commenting, silly girl, shouldn't have done it, what do you expect, I'm glad that it happened to you. Just want to address those comments right now. I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. Yes, I was stupid. Yes, it was bound to happen. And yes, I was thankful that it did. So, if you want to listen to the entire story and find out exactly why I was thankful that my license was taken away from me for a year, implore you to continue watching. So, everyone ready? Just to let you know, I will be medicating throughout this video, so there may be some cuts here and there, but there you go. Does anybody have a problem with that? If you do, raise your hand. Didn't think so. Okay. So, in order for you guys to get a full picture of the story, you're going to need to know the why, the how, and the when. So why don't we start with the when? So the year 2016 is when this happened, but you must know that one of the reasons as to, why this even happened was because of this. This was introduced into the UK in 2015. Now, we already knew that, well, personally, myself and a few friends already knew that because this was such a new thing that the UK police had power over. And if you don't know what this is, if you're not from the UK, or simply if you're too young to remember this or you don't know, what this was, it still is, I guess, is that they will pull you over on the roadside and give you a oral test, which will sort of scrape your tongue and then put it back into this little packet. Now it will turn either, I think it's purple or blue, and that will signify if there is cannabis or cocaine in your system. So this was a very new thing that came out in 2015. So the speculation was that they were going to be rampant with this. They wanted to test it out, right? They needed to test it out in the public. So first things first, start pulling people over. So that's how that worked. And that came into effect in 2015. That's the when. Here's the how. So again, 8 years ago, we're going back. I was with a person. I mean, for the benefit of the story and to protect identity, I suppose I better change his name. So let's just go with John. Okay. So Katie and John have been together for 2 years at this point because we got together in 2014. And we lived in a nice little cottage that we rented far in the countryside. So when we wanted to go somewhere like shopping, a nice big shopping centre or something like that, we had to travel about 30 to 45 minutes depending on the closest city. And the closest city to us at that time was Ipswich. So one day we decided to drive to Ipswich. And he drove, so I was in the passenger seat. we got to Ipswich, we done the shopping that we needed to, and we were driving back home. As we were driving back home, it was raining, and we got to a certain town that we had to drive through, and I noticed on the side of the road a gentleman walking with a suitcase and about 3 bags and what looked to be his wife with him. Drove past him, and I had noticed that John had also noticed this man. As I looked at him, he looked in his rearview mirror. Now, what you must know about John is that he is a very, very kind man. He still is a kind man. We're not together, but I still talk to him. Very, very kind man. He will always, always help someone else in need. If he ever saw anybody break down or just on the side of the road or just anybody that looked like he was in trouble or she was in trouble, anybody, John would pull over to help. So in this instance, he looked at me, I looked at him, and he said, "Are you thinking what I'm thinking?" And I said, "Absolutely." We didn't even need to say anything to each other. We just knew. He pulled over. I wound down the window, put my head out, and said, "Come here." Said to him, "Are you okay? What's wrong?" And this man had said that his girlfriend had kicked him out and that he has all of his stuff with him and that he has to walk back to his house where he is. And we said, "Well, where is it?" He told us where it was, and it was only 15 minutes away from our house. So, of course, we said, "Get in." So he did. At this point, it was about a half an hour drive from his location to where we picked him up to our house, and then maybe another 15 minutes to the place that he asked us to drop him off to. So, fast forward, we go straight past our house and we ask him where we're going, and he gives us directions to the house that he was staying in. And as we were driving, well, we couldn't say it at the time, but of course, myself and John had had a conversation after we dropped this gentleman off, so it was definitely something that we felt together. And we felt as though where we were going wasn't a house, and we were right. So we were asked to drop him off in this lay-by that was just in the middle of fucking nowhere, and there was a car. And he said, "Yep, this is great, thank you." And we sort of looked at each other and went, is this where you are?" He said, "Yeah." Like, just candidly, like, "Yeah." And we're like, "Dude, what, can we help you? Like, what the fuck, you know?" Instantly, just us, kick in. "Here's 20 quid. Go and get yourself some baccy," right? "Is there anything else you need? Do you need toilet roll? Do you need food? Do you need water? Like, what do you need? What can we help you with?" So he did say, "I would very much like some toilet roll." And I said, "Okay, no problem. No problem at all. What we'll do is we're going to go home. I'll go shopping tomorrow. I'll grab some stuff and get some extras. I will contact you tomorrow. Here's my number." And we exchanged numbers. And I said, "I will contact you in the morning and we'll come and bring some stuff to you at this location." He was like, "Yeah, great. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you." And we were like, "Of course, right? Of course." So me and John drove back home. So the next day rolls around, and obviously I go shopping and get a few bits and pieces for this gentleman. But I had some bits and pieces to do. I remember that I wasn't able to take it to him the next day. But I'd also told my neighbour, who we were very, very friendly with at the time, about the situation that had just happened. And obviously, you know, she was like us. So she was like, "Oh, whoa, let me make some hot meals." So she ended up making like I can't even remember what the hell she made, but she made these hot meals and put them into pots. Meanwhile, I had gone and got cheese and ham and bread and butter and toilet roll. And what we had actually done was created like a platter of food. So we had made these ham sandwiches, we had made these cheese sandwiches, and then something else just in case he didn't like that or he was allergic to it. Like, you know, I didn't want to ring him up and ask because I just kind of wanted it to be a surprise. So in the end, I remember what we did as well. We had cocktail sticks, and we got like little sticker labels, and we put on it like ham, and then wrapped the sticker label around the cocktail stick to make it look like a little flag, and then poked that into the sandwich so that when he opened it, he would know this one's ham, this one's cheese, right? Wrapped it all up in foil. There was crisps, chocolate bar, there was yogurts, there was protein bars, there was like oat stuff, you know, everything that you would think to put into a care package for somebody who is on the streets, including toilet roll and backy and everything like that, right? So we had this massive bag ready to go, and I had arranged with him, I believe the next day or later on during that day, yes, it was later on during that day, because of the meals and everything like that, that we were going to drop it off to him. So this is very important in the story. John had been drinking that day, so it was obviously down to me to drive. Now, for those of you who don't know me, my passion is within Japanese cars, specifically Japanese tuner cars or any imported car that's Jap that we don't really see on the road. So the car that I owned at the time was a Mitsubishi Colt GLX. I'm going to throw a picture up here. This is not my car, but this is exactly what it looked like. Mine was a 2000 though, so it had slightly different lights. But the main point of the story is that it was in kilometers. So there wasn't a miles per hour clock, it had a kilometer clock. So obviously if you were doing 30 on the kilometers, that was probably at 10 mile an hour. I can't remember the conversion, as you'll find out later on in the story. So we put everything into the car and I got ready to drive. Now, again, this is another pivotal point in the story, because as we went out of the driveway, there are two ways to go. There is a left way and there is a right way. I came out and immediately turned left because that was the way that I thought was the easiest back way to go. But John stopped me and said, well, don't go that way, go that way, and gave me a reason as to why. And I can't remember to the day as to why he gave me this reason, but he did. So I listened and went along, and I went to the right hand side. So on the right hand side is a completely different way. Like, now I'm thinking about it, it's completely different. There's traffic lights. I don't know why he told me to take that way, but I guess I kind of do know, and you'll find out later on in the story. But so we go right, and there is a certain stretch of road which I have to go down to get to the location as to where this gentleman is, and it goes from a 50 mile an hour road straight to a 30. And so I specifically remember, by the way, I was also, the pivotal point of the story I probably should tell you, was that I had rolled a joint and was smoking it at the time of me driving to go to see the homeless man. Probably quite an important part there that I missed. So now you know that. We are now going from a 50 down into a 30, and I slam on my brakes because my car isn't going down like quick enough for me to see where I am, right? From 50 down to, well, the kilometers, I think it's 80 for 50. I don't remember if it is, but it was something around that sort of way. So as I'm trying to gauge where the fuck I am going from 50 to 30, I was doing about 37 maybe, as I pulled into this section where there was an old Bill on the side of the road that comes out with a gun, and not a proper gun, but like a speedometer gun. And they point this gun at you, and it basically measures the speed that you are going towards them. And if you are going over the speed limit, they will flag you down. So there was the old flag, come over, and I was like, shit. And I looked at what I was doing, and I think it was about 38, 30. It was just over, because they allow you a certain amount here in the UK. I don't know if they do anywhere else, but if you're doing 30 mile an hour and you're out it for like 33, something like that, I think they allow you that. But it was out of that zone, right, by like 2 or something like that. Anyway, he pulls me over, and he comes over, and I'm pretty sure that he can smell everything, obviously, but I don't even really, it's kind of fuzzy what happened. But anyway, he pulls me over, says something, I give him my license, and then get out of the car. He must have asked me to get out of the car or whatever. There was a joint just clearly in the ashtray there. And he gets out the car. I get out the car and I go over to him and talk to him about event speeding. Yes, sorry, officer, my speedometer doesn't work. I am getting it sorted. Everything's fine. Da, 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 da. He hasn't said anything about smell. Hasn't said anything. Everything's fine. Until it's not. Until he says, I smell a bit of cannabis. And I'm like, oh, do you? Well, shit. You know, what am I going to say? I already know at this point that they've got these new tests. So in my mind, I'm like, well, that's it, mate. I'm a habitual smoker. Like, you have to stop for 30 days for that shit to be out your system. So, you know what I mean? So that was the worst 8 minutes of my life. Yeah, 8 minutes it takes for that test to go through. 8 fucking minutes that you're standing there waiting to see what colour well, you know it's going to turn that colour, whatever colour the weed colour is. You know? I know that it's going to turn that colour. And obviously, ultimately, it does. And this is the kicker. Because I say to the officer, if you arrest me, just letting you know, like, I can't prove this story really, can I? But if you arrest me, you're stopping a gentleman get really, really, like, needful items that he needs, like food and stuff, right? And he just was not having it. Basically turned around and told John, who was quite clearly had a drink, you could smell it on his breath, quite clearly, told him he would have to drive my car home. Yep. Told me, you're staying here while we get transport. He's going to have to drive your car home. And he was like, I've had a drink. And he was like, oh. Honest to God, didn't like say, get it back another way, like leave it here. No, just said you can drive it back. So on the way to the cell, I was in the back of the car, or, well, meat wagon, really. We call it over here in the UK, meat wagon. I was in the back of one of those. And there was a really, really nice, like, I don't know who he was. It was more than like a cop, normal police officer. He was like a, I don't know, sergeant, I guess. Yeah, I think it was Sarge. Yeah, I think I said Sarge, didn't I? So he was really nice, right? I was telling him the fucking story. I was like, look, I'm telling you, right? This is what happened. I'm on my way to go and do this. And he was just like, that's really nice, but I can't help you. And I'm just like, I was so sad. More sad that I couldn't get this stuff to this guy than knowing what's about to happen to me. Like, seriously, like, I was just like, I can't believe this is happening. The fucking one day that everything's about to go to him, and you're now arresting me. So we got to the station, and I had to have a blood test just to, you know, make sure the exact levels of what I was over the limit, because that's what happens. What they will drug test you on the side of the road to see if you have levels of it in you, and then if you do, they will take you back to the station so that they can blood test you to find out the exact levels, so they can take that to court and they'll be like, they were X amount over the limit, right? So that's what happened. I had a blood test, and even there, like, the people there were, I don't know what happened there, but they were really fun as well. Like, not fun, but they were really comforting about the whole thing. Like, they weren't like, oh wow, you know, they were like, oh man, you know, well, can't you go back and do it? Like, da 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 da, like, oh. And so they understood where I was coming from. I was like, I know you have to do this, but like, fuck, man. So I ended up having my blood taken, and then about 8 months later, I got the letter to say that you were 2 times over the limit. I think it was like you were allowed oh mate, it sounds stupid. It's like 0.002% THC or something like that, and I had like 2% THC or something. So they were like, oh, you're 2 or 3 times over the limit. They class it like that. Is absolutely. It's ludicrous. It's absolutely ludicrous, right? I'm completely fucking fine to drive. Obviously, I'm not impaired at all. My car's impaired, but I'm not. But yeah, anyway, they took my license away for a year, and this was particularly disheartening because I was cleaning. I had a cleaning job where I was going and doing a couple of houses a week and cleaning for people, and obviously I drove my car to get to those people's houses. So this was really frustrating for me, but it was what happened, right? I had to pay the price, and I knew that. And I even said as well, right, because I'm a very spiritual person, so I even said after it happened, I don't know why it happened, but there's obviously a fucking reason as to why, okay? I couldn't get to the guy the first time. Why is that? What was wrong for me not to be able to get to the guy, right? Then the second time, John tells me to go right when I should have gone left. I knew I should have gone left, but he tells me to go right. That day was always written out. That day was written out. And so I fucking knew it. And so I said, I don't know why, but okay. And that's just the type of person I am. So I carried on and I asked my friend to take me to my job, which was cleaning, right? So my friend every week come and pick me up and he would take me to my cleaning job and then would go back to my house and stay with John and chill with John for a bit until I was ready to get picked up. So my friend would then come and pick me up again. And I did this for a good couple of months. And then I realized I need to do something else. Like, this is not sustainable. Like, I need to find something else. I need to be able to, like, do my own, right? Because my friend's not always going to be here. John's not always going to be here. I can't rely on other people to take me to work. And that is when I found streaming in 2017. So, to break down a huge story into a very, very compressed story, after I started streaming, it took me 2 months to become a fairly successful streamer on a platform that I do not participate on anymore whatsoever. But back in the day in 2017 and 18 was one of the best times of my life. It was absolutely brilliant. Streaming was fucking exploded. So anyway, I ended up quitting the job that I was doing because I didn't need to do it anymore. I was earning more money streaming, sitting at home on my arse all day than I would going cleaning. Lo and behold, I start streaming, continue to stream, life goes past me, and already I've done my year ban and I get my license back. So I was very, very thankful that my license was taken from me, because had it not have been taken from me, I wouldn't have found the avenue that I needed to open up into my life. And from streaming, I may not do streaming anymore, but from streaming, I found friends that I have continued to stay in contact with to this day. I've gone on holiday with these people. I plan to go on holiday with these people. And off the back of that, I'm more confident to do videos like this on YouTube. I haven't been able to always be like this, but having streaming as a side thing that I did for many, many years has given me the confidence to be able to not give a fuck, really, about putting myself out there and being vulnerable on the internet, because you don't know me, I don't know you, I don't give a fuck what you think. Whether you take value from this, I really hope you do take value from this. Don't go and do what I did, but what I want you to take from this is everything happens for a reason. Even the bad, you might think that what's happening to you is bad, okay? And that's because you're perceiving it to be bad. However, scroll down the line as to why it happened and something good come out of it, right? These words good and bad don't fucking exist. You're just putting that on there for the human language so that we understand these things, right? But really, they don't really exist. Really, it doesn't. Good and bad doesn't exist. It's polarity, it's duality, right? Doesn't exist. It's all one, but I'm not going to go too far deep into that. My spiritual watchers will know probably exactly what I'm talking about here. But if you stayed with me, I want to thank you, because that was the entire story of what happened. And I have always beat myself up about it because I never ever got to give that man his stuff. That's the worst part of it. I had to throw that shit in the bin, mate, because he never got it. He never got it. John had to send him a message when he got back and say, yo, Katie's just been arrested, by the way. We can't come down and give it to you. I was in the cell for 18 hours. The food had gone bad by then. I think we may have dropped in toilet roll, actually. I lie. I think we may have gone back and dropped in toilet roll. But that was it. That was the last I ever saw and spoke to that guy. And again, I feel so bad that I wasn't able to get the meals to him. But some of you may have thought that he played a role in this as well, you know, because this whole journey, it wouldn't have happened had we not have seen him on the side of the road walking with his entire life. Universal shit, man. We were put in that place at that time, and I was put in that place at that time to lose my license due to being a patient, but not a patient at the time. Wonder how it would work now, right? I don't know. If you've stayed with me, thank you so much. Like, I know this is a long video, right? But this is raw, this is true, this is genuine. It happened, right? 8 years ago. I've never had a problem since, just in case you're wondering. So I've had my license for the last 7 years, no problem whatsoever. And predominantly that's because I have a car that has a speedometer that works. But I hope you enjoyed this story. I really, really do. If you did enjoy it, please do hit the like button. Let me know if you do like these sort of things. I have many stories in my life, not all, you know, medical related, but it's just nice to kind of talk about things, right? And I don't know, maybe some people can relate, I don't know, but hit the subscribe if you vibed with it as well. You know, if you want more content like this in your feed, then hit the subscribe button, and much love to you all. Take care. See you later.
And I'm thankful for the fans, the love, the listeners. Yeah, and I'm thankful even for the ones that don't believe in